Alternative gonna give you what you asking for. Naturally yours, but educate the most. Hottest in the game, here to put you on. Come learn this business, welcome to Twinness. Alternative gonna give you what you asking for. Naturally yours, but educate the most. Hottest in the game, here to put you on. Come learn this business, welcome to Twinness. But glad you're tuning in on the latest tips. Alternative salon, keep your head lit. And naturally yours, got your custom fit. Teacher Benton Tanika, keep your wig drip. TNT, double up the impact, call it Twinness. Hottest hairstylist in the business. Keeping topics fresh for your listening. Black owned, woman independent. Like fishes hold it down on your imaging. Whether professional or apprenticeship. Showing culture love just to get you right. Black is beautiful, always shining bright. Alternative gonna give you what you asking for. Naturally yours, but educate the most. Hottest in the game, here to put you on. Come learn this business, welcome to Twinness. Alternative gonna give you what you asking for. Naturally yours, but educate the most. Hottest in the game, here to put you on. Come learn this business, welcome to Twinness.
Hello. Alternatives Beauty Studio in the house. And
Naturally yours, I'm Tanika Gillard.
yes, how are you, Nikki?
I'm wonderful.
Congratulations. Yesterday, I saw Rain in the fashion show, and she did her thing, got a standing ovation.
That's
All
my
the
sugar
aunties were in the
booger.
place.
Yes.
Y'all look lovely.
Thank you. That's my snuggle booger. So this year we really focused on building Rain's brand and her awareness. We got something planned for Mother's Day for next month. So every month we're trying to do something centered around Rain and Rainbow. So
Awesome.
it was a great event yesterday. Our first time doing it, and my girls want to do it again next year. We'll see what next year brings, but we had a great time.
Amazing. And you have to bring your bows next year.
I have to at least bring business cards because it's not one of those events. It's a fundraiser for the ARC, but it's not like you selling things. It's not a market.
I know, I get it.
But yeah, I could do something like, because they were doing auctions, so I can do an auction. I could be part of the auctioning bidding war, like maybe do a blanket, a romper, barefoot sandals, bows, make it a whole package, and they could raffle that off or auction it off. So yeah, it was great.
Nice. So let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. And we need y'all's opinions, the reasons why or why not. Okay, so let me tell you first. No, I want y'all's opinions first, and then I'll get into the reason. So, should natural hair care professionals be licensed or non-licensed or certified? Some may say, okay, they don't need to have a full license, but maybe just a certificate. So, what do you think?
I don't have an opinion. I never have an opinion. But me and my client was talking about this morning, and it's actually in my time. My feed just now was the only woman that was a braider in the state of Texas, and she went to jail in 1997. But because she didn't want to go to cosmetology school for the whole thing, she just wanted to practice natural hair licensure. She was the only one, and so now they making it where you can have a license for natural hair. But she was the only one in her state, and they put her in jail because they said she was operating doing hair without a license. And she's like, I just do natural hair. So she's the only natural hair school in the state of Texas. And she's in my memory. So today, one of my clients and I were talking about that because she brought it up. And I said, that's our topic on today's show. Because she was talking about how during COVID, so many people came out the woodwork doing hair and braids and stuff. And does it really matter? She's like, does it really matter? It was several things she touched on that. She was like, because your other shops operate a lot without it, so did it make a difference? Even with your nails, she even brought up the nails. She was like, I know they're not all going to school to get licensed because they barely speak English. So how are they sitting for a board? So how are they getting licensed or certified? And so what do I feel about it? I don't know. I really don't know. I know that the states are making it mandatory that you have a license, and I'm sure that they have reasons. I know sanitation was one of the reasons, but even with that, like if you're pulling out hair, you pulling out hair, so whether you're licensed or not. That's just my opinion.
Okay, let's go back with that last phrase that you said. But wait, your girl in Texas, that was 1997.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fairly recent event, even though I know we're so many years later, but that's still kind of fairly recent. 1997. Mm-hmm. That's 26 years ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. And things have changed in that 26 years or so. Okay. For my naturalistas. All right. So you mentioned COVID and people coming out the woodwork and this, that, and the other. And so I'm here at a crossroads because, I'm in Delaware. And guys, actually, I have to speak in front of the board of cosmetology. And this is the argument that is to be had at that meeting. So this is why I'm making it out there. I have my supernaturals that are old school and feel that, and this is true, these are my mentors that have said, no, you should not have to be licensed in order to do braiding, because this is something culturally that we've been doing throughout the years. This is something that is innate to us. This is something that we know. This is not something that the schools can teach us because we know it on that bin. But I'm not going to even say who it was, but they took it even further. And then I say, well, how far back do we want to go here? Because they mentioned the fact that we used to use braids as a pattern for, to be free, to as a roadmap to get out of slavery. Mm-hmm. So then with that being said, it's like, okay, how far do you want to go back now? And so they also felt, I'm not going to say he or she, they also felt that the schools cannot teach us what we already know. And why should we be teaching them what we already know? Why shouldn't it just not stay within the community? So that's the way they feel about it. I don't know. I feel a little bit opposite because I guess I'm more forward thinking, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is more of the sanitation issue. Yes, we know that there's salons that's open and operating without their licenses. And let me tell you, whether it's the nail salons or the braiding salons, they'd rather pay the fine than close down because
we talked about that.
Fine.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
They're not going to shut them down. They pay.
That's exactly what my client's point was. She said they'll pay the fine because they're going to make more than what the fine is. Like if the fine is $250, they're going to make money more than that.
The fine could be thousands, and they'll rather pay the fine than to go to school for.
Well, and that's probably why the young lady went to jail, because she was like, I'm not going to school for cosmetology when I just want to do natural hair. Why should I have to go to school, spend those hours? And that's probably what her argument was.
Well, that was my argument when I first moved to Pennsylvania. And I said, I only want to do natural hair. Mm-hmm. And then they kept saying, well, there's going to be a natural hair care license for if you go to school in Philly. Well, Philly is still part of Pennsylvania. There is no separate license just because you go to school in Philly, as opposed to it's a state license. So that didn't even make sense. And it just never happened. And they did have at some point, I guess, licensing, but not enough people signed up to do natural hair care. So they said, you know what, this is a waste of our time. So you're going to have to go for the whole cosmetology course. Back to what I was saying about sanitation. My issue is the sanitary part. Let me tell you something, because, you know, I'm not one to just come up here and start talking. I did a little research out here. So I went in, I need a job. I went into this braiding shop and I worked for one day. The sanitation was so disgusting. You know, we have to have our barbicide, and, you know, it was like this much barbicide in the jar loaded with all of these combs. It couldn't even cover the tips, the ends of the combs. You're supposed to fully immerse your implements. It was disgusting. It was disgusting. You go to the sink, hair all up in the sink. And so I'm cleaning, and this is like post-COVID, like right after. I'm using the Clorox wipes, wiping down the seats, and they looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm looking at them like, y'all are nasty. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead. I won't ramble about that. But my issue was the sanitation piece of it, and we're going to keep going deeper. You guys are watching Twinness. This is Tisha and Tanika. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you have something to say, let us know.
And thank you for joining the replay. Now, with the sanitation, we know that we even got the little certificate online, because during COVID, you could get a sanitation certification online. Easy peasy. But really, what does that little sheet of paper mean? You know what I mean? So that, I think that, like, to a consumer, that would be the issue.
So that piece of paper meant that we retook the course, even though now in salons, depending on what salon you go to, we already practiced the sanitation. We already practiced that. That's all a part of going to school and getting your license. We already know the sanitation techniques. But the reason why people were going back was to say to my clients, look, we retook this course, and we want to make you feel better that we retook this course and that we're practicing our sanitation guidelines. But we already were practicing sanitation guidelines. Right. I don't know. Go ahead.
Well, Alabama, you know, is a state where you have to have your natural hair license. And that was an issue when I first moved down. It was, it's new, and I got grandfathered in because of my background and knowledge. So I didn't have to go to school for the hours. They just grandfathered me in after they saw all of the magazines and stuff like that. And so when I presented them with, like, teaching braids and stuff, they said, your skill set is too advanced. We can't do that right now. So, and that's the things that the people want to learn here. Your cornrows, your feeding, you know, whatever.
How could that be too advanced if the people don't know how to do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to start with a basic.
Well, their basic is just the natural hair, how to shampoo it, detangle it, condition it.
Okay.
You know, that's what your natural hair license is for.
Okay.
If it's for braiding and stuff and different types of braids, that's too advanced.
Okay. Because I know New York City, it is a natural hair care and braiding license. Nope. It's a braiding, and they have to show 2 ways of doing locks, a box braid or cornrow. Okay. All right. They even have to do extensions. You know, they have to do the whole, and they have to use a model. So they taking it back old school. No, you're not going to just come up in here saying, you know how to, we're not just giving you a paper license. You are going to come in and show us, do it a practical. You're going to have to do it.
And so for that's why we tell you need to know the laws in your state, what it is in your state that's required. I'm in Alabama. Our requirements, we don't do natural hair and braiding. It's just natural hair.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, one of my students, because, you know, I teach, she's going to be taking taking the test in New York City, even though she's being licensed in Pennsylvania, because it's a 300-hour course. And what they're doing is, Tanika, I'm telling you, what you said was correct. You got to know your laws. They just want to see that you have at least 300 hours of cosmetology. You don't have to have a cosmetology license. You don't have to have you just need 300 hours, saying that you went to school for 300 hours, and you could go to New York City and get your your natural hair care and braiding license. And I think they're saying the 300 hours only because in those hours you're learning sanitation. And that's the main thing. So let's get back into this. I told you when I went to the salon and the sanitation was nasty. So let's keep going a little deeper. So let's say you're going to a non-licensed salon, and I already told you about the barbicide. Now you're saying, oh, don't gather up all of my baby hair. Don't gather up all of my edges. Don't. And they proceed to gather up your edges. Now you have 0 edges. And now this is the reason for licensing. And now who are you going to complain to? You can say, oh, well, your edges are gone already. But at least if you have to be licensed, you can go to the Department of Cosmetology and make a complaint and say, look, I went to XYZ salon and they took out my edges, and you have your befores and your after pictures to prove it. They're going to go inside. They're going to check it out. But on the flip side of that, if you don't, if they don't have a license, you can't complain to anybody. Who are you going to complain to? The Department of Health, the Department of Consumer Affairs. Who are you going to complain to? Who can you say, I have no edges? And then, from what I understand, the paperwork is so tedious on those sites that you're going to be like, forget about it. I just won't go there anymore. So you have no recourse if you don't have a license.
Okay, so we talked about that, about how when you go to certain shops, you know, they'll do your hair, you pay your money and you leave out, and maybe a braid falls out, or like you said, the edges are gone or whatever. You go back and they didn't even know who you were. Like you never even was serviced by them. So, I mean, my client and I, we talked about that, but we also talked about, and I know this is different, but it's still cosmetology, even with the lashes now. Like
that's another sample that I wanted to give.
You know, like, oh, you only have to be certified to do my lashes, and then so I know you don't even have to have that. But then, like that, she was saying, you know, but that's your eyes, that's your vision. You know, you don't have to have no license, no certification, nothing to play in my eyes. We took it everywhere. We took it there. We took it to your injections. You know how that was going. They didn't even have a medical background, and it was offering injections and things. So you have to know where you're going, who you're talking to, who you're trusting. And because you learned a lot of techniques on a site doesn't mean that technique is right for the person whose hair you're doing. So it's good to be knowledgeable about these things, because anybody could say, yeah, I could braid, but what's going to be the effect of that braid?
You are watching Twinness. This is Tisha and Tanika, and we're talking about, you know, should you be licensed or certified to do natural hair, to do braiding, to do locking, to do twists, to do whatever it is that you want to do in braiding, trimming hair, because we know there's a difference between a trim and a cut. And sometimes you will walk in, or clients will walk in, wear their hair in a fro style, but you want to flat iron it so you can get it straight to trim it. No, if the client wears a fro in its natural state, almost always, then that's the way you want to cut it. When you go to cosmetology school, they're not going to tell you that. They're going to say flatten it out and trim it that way. But no, because then you're going to cut too much, and it won't be the shape that the client necessarily wears it in. Okay, back to the eyelashes. So I was talking to the Department of Education out here in Delaware, and this was 2 weeks ago, and she just got me so hyped. She got me so amped. She got me so just like ready for this. And she said, Tisha, you are so knowledgeable. You need to speak in front of the board. You need to be an advocate. And I'm like, what am I advocating for? She gave an example of the eyelashes, like you said, because even for makeup artistry, you do not need to have a license in some states. Like in New York, you have to have your aesthetics license. That estheticians are the ones to do the makeup. But in other states, like, well, DC is not a state, but in DC, you don't have to have a license to do makeup. So I could use my brush on you, on the next client, on the next client. You don't know if my brushes are clean, dirty, or whatever. Back to the eyelashes. So she was giving an example. So Tanika, you taught me, you're just certified. You don't have no license in nothing. You're certified. And so because you feel like you're certified, you're going to teach me now how to do these eyelash extensions. So now I'm not really good at it yet. So I get the glue in my client's eye. Who is that client? And this really happened. So who is that client going to cry to now that she's blind or whatever? You know, she's had a serious medical issue. That's what it was. It was a serious medical issue. Who's she going to complain to? She can't complain to the Department of Cosmetology because this person was only certified, and I'm certified under you, and you have no qualifications. So who are they going to complain to? So now out here, they made it where you have to have a license to do eyelash extensions because that literally just happened recently. And they said, no, we have to get this under
Yeah,
regulation.
you have to get that regulated. I agree with that. The natural hair is not, to me, it's not as important as those eyes. Like those eyes are like so important. You know, you have to have someone that you can trust. Because like I said, for myself, I'm allergic to liquid eyeliner. So the first time you even bring that up, I'm like, no, I can't have that. I need a pencil, you know? But
some
yeah.
people are allergic to latex, and some of the glues have latex. So you got to know what your client, and sometimes a client might not know if they're what they're allergic to until it's on, and then that's a problem.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to do these patch tests, these skin tests, you need to be able to do that. But if you're not learning about this,
right,
how would you know to do that?
Exactly. Even with hair, some people are allergic to the synthetic hair. And if you're not knowledgeable, even though you're licensed or certified in the natural hair care industry, if you don't know that, then you don't know how to treat it. You don't know what to do once you have
even
to.
Even for color. Some people can't take professional color, you know. Some people, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we're going a little off topic, but it's still the same thing.
It's all in the cosmetology field.
So that brings me to, okay, so maybe you say, no, you don't have to have a license, but at least be certified, at least have some sanitation behind you, at least if you're not going to go for the full, of course, cosmetology course, because you're not into all of that, just at least be able to get a certification. However, I'm going to say it again, the way she put it on me, kind of. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit because this is the Department of Education we're talking about, and she's been in the industry over 40 years. And she doesn't use the slang that we use. Something like, put respect on your name. Put respect on the name of natural hair care and braiding. The way you put respect on natural hair care and braiding is by having licensing. But to me, on the flip side of that is put respect on your name. We already respect our craft and what we do. We don't need the state to say we respect our craft and what we do. So there was a little bit of I understood where she was coming from. I understood what she was saying, because honestly, can I be real for a second? Honestly, when you go to the salons, and I'm only can speak for Delaware and partial of PA, when you come to the salons out here, all of the salons out here are really upscale. But then when you go into the braiding salons and stuff like that, you got the cushions coming out the seat. You got the hair all over the place. It's like total night and day. And I think that's where she was coming from when she said pretty much put some respect on the name of the natural hair industry. You want to have that same atmosphere that the other salons, that the upscale salons. You don't want somebody to walk in and be like, oh, you know, because to be honest, I serve Black, white, Spanish. I serve them all, you know. And so my salon, I want when you come in to be a clean atmosphere, you know, a peaceful, calm atmosphere. I don't want a lot of ruckus and all of this in my atmosphere.
I think that's why they like Randall's Grooming Lounge and his next door salon, because it's so relaxing and peaceful. And I think that might be one of the reasons why they have licensure requirements here as well, because we were getting a lot of complaints about certain shops, the smell, the food, the eating over,
this is the sanitation piece. This is the sanitation piece.
The sleeping in the shop, being there all night long, you know, just things like that. A lot of complaints on that side. And I think that's why Alabama went to the licensure portion, you know. But guys, you do have.
I see y'all here. If you could type in the chat, what do you believe? I see 4 of you here. If you could type what you believe, what is your opinion on this? I have got to speak in front of the board in 2 weeks and give my argument. I already kind of know what my argument base is going to be, but I just want your opinion on this. Should we be licensed or at least certified in the natural hair care industry? Why or why not? I had a mother-daughter. I'm sorry, Nikki, to cut you off. I had a mother-daughter. They were at opposite sides. This was 2 weeks ago when I first heard about, you know, when I first started talking to the Department of Education. The mother said one thing, the daughter said something else. So, and it's just been a divide. And I've been asking my clients constantly, what do they think? What do they think? What do they think? And Majority said one thing. So, I'm like, okay, we are moving forward and progressing.
My thing is, and I'm gonna have to turn off my air conditioner in a minute. My thing is, so what? You certified. You need to know who you're being certified under. What are their credentials? What makes them qualified to certify you? That's how I feel about it. What do they have behind them that says, yeah, I can certify you now? Now in Alabama, I'm the natural hair. I'm the braider. I am the braider. So that's what certifies me. Everybody knows me as the braider. Someone else here in Alabama is more with the weaves and the natural hair free flowing. That would make them certifiable. So what makes you qualified to certify me? That's how I feel about it. Don't say that you took 20 hours of
that would be that eyelash trick.
Yeah, I was going to say eyelash, but I didn't want to harp on them.
Yes.
Tell me that you had 20 hours of, braiding instruction. That's not enough to really certify you. You need more than that, maybe, depending on your skill set.
Well, out here, it would be a 300-hour certification course under a school. That's what would make you certified. So I'm going in with that argument of, if they don't want a license and you're required, I am allowed to do certification under Alternatives Beauty School. And you know how I learned that up? Because I do my research. I was just fiddling. I was really working. But I looked and I saw, oh, Paul Mitchell has a makeup certification class. I was like, oh, so then I could do a natural hair care and braiding certification class. Who was my next call that next morning? Department of Education. Can I have a certification for natural hair care? She said, yes, I just need the curriculum. And it has to be 300 hours. I said, easy. I went to PA state law book and I looked at it, and that's the way I'm basing my curriculum on. So It's just a little bit of research, a little time. How much effort am I going to put into this? And so when I go in, well, there's not enough schools that teach natural hair care and braiding, and our younger generation wants to learn braids, locks, weaves, and the schools are really not teaching it because, and I'm going to tell you, that's another argument, but let me just stick with the point. I would like to be the school to certify since XYZ schools do not offer that at this moment.
I'm going to turn off my air.
Okay.
I'm coming right back.
So you guys are watching Twinness, and we are talking about, should natural hair care professionals be licensed or certified? This has been a hot button topic. Like I said, I have to speak before the board in 2 weeks, and I have to give my argument. And actually, this came up because my husband had mentioned, Tisha, you need to be the one teaching it. So Tanika's away turning off her air. However, let me tell you something else. The other issue why we're not licensed or certified right now, there's not enough of us teaching. It's not enough of us who know how to braid that have teaching licenses. So the teachers that are in the school now, maybe they've been there 20 years, 30 years, they don't know how to teach locks, braids, twists, weaves, crochet braids, this, that, and the other. They don't know how to do it. So therefore, they can't teach it. And there's not enough of us that are teachers that can teach it. And then some of us that can teach, we still believe straight is best. So we don't know how to teach lock braid because we believe that relaxes are the way to go. And so it's not enough of us to be able to teach it. So then you have that one student that comes into class who's really good at braiding, and now she's teaching her classmates how to braid because the teacher can't teach how to do a basic braid. And that is a problem. So that was another reason why the schools were not making you get a license. Like, I can open a salon today, a natural hair care salon today, and not get a fine, not be in trouble at all, because you don't have to have a natural hair care license in the state of Delaware. You do not have to have a natural hair care license, a cosmetology license, nothing. I can open today with no license for braiding.
And in the state of Alabama, you cannot open up a salon without a natural hair care license. You have to have a license to open a natural hair salon.
Yes.
That's the state of Alabama.
In Pennsylvania, you have to have a cosmetology license in order to open a salon, period. You cannot open up even a natural hair care salon without a cosmetology license. You have to have it. So every state is different. Maryland, I don't believe you have to have a natural hair care license because that's the next state that I plan on getting my license in. So that was the other issue. Not enough teachers out to be able to teach the curriculum. Not enough teachers that will stay to teach the curriculum because it's a high rollover rate, a high turnover rate for teachers, for cosmetology teachers. So this is the other issue. So if there's no teachers to teach it, how are they going to make you get a license for it? Bottom line. So guys, y'all have been really quiet in the chat, but I appreciate y'all watching. Maybe you're driving or something like that. So we want to just say thank you for joining us. I know which way I'm going to go with my argument. But we just wanted to put that out there. Anything else, Nick?
No, just sometimes I think our consumers don't understand the difference between licensure and certification, and there is a difference. So make sure you know what's for your state, you know, what's required, and whoever's working on you, are you licensed to do this? So you governed by the no.
I'm just saying, when we walk into places, we don't say, oh, can we see your license? I've never walked into a salon and said, can I see your license? You know, sometimes they'll have it on the wall, but we don't know if it's theirs or not, you know, unless you're looking at their ID against the license, you don't really know if that's Jane Doe or if that's somebody else's that they're
borrowing. But I'm just saying, the licensure versus the certification. Licensure takes a little bit more time and effort than certification.
That's issued to the state. Yes.
Yeah. Then certification, anybody can certify you to do anything. So you want to know. And we did talk about that, me and my client today. She was like, you know, I said, yeah, my license is right here. My frame is broken, but it is supposed to be hanging up on a wall. And that's why she was like, well, when you go to get your nails done, yeah, they have it, but how are they getting them? They barely speak English, you know, so I know that they're not sitting for the board.
And for us, we don't have to have it sitting out. We can have it in an inconspicuous place as long as we have it on the premises. So we don't have to post our license up.
No, mine got to be posted because they sure enough gave a fine for me. And I said, no, this was during COVID and they didn't have enough people working in the office. I said, I applied for that a month in advance before it was due. And they looked it up and they saw that I had it. And, you know, I was like, y'all.
And that's really all they do when they come out. You know, mine sits in the drawer. I don't hang mine up. In the school, they have to post it. But mine is sitting in the drawer. And what they do, the inspectors will come and they'll just look it up in the computer to see if you recertified, if you're current. You know, that's all they do.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us for Twinness. And we're just talking about just different things, you know, the career wise. Do we need to be licensed? Do we need to be certified? Do we need anything at all? Can we just work in peace and harmony and just work and mind our business, you know? But what is your opinion on that? Do we need to be licensed? What does your state require for you to do natural hair and braiding? Like I said, do you care? You know, like, you know, as long as you're getting your hair done, do you really care? And that was the thing about working during COVID. You found so many entrepreneurs, people. I know when I moved to Alabama, maybe 20 years ago almost, it was just, where are my natural braiders? Where's my natural stylist? And everybody was underground. There was nobody that was out there saying, hey, I do natural hair. You know, it was just like a secret tunnel. You had to find someone that knew someone, you know.
Wow.
But now it's becoming more, you know, more people are doing it. And that the thing is everybody saying, well, I know how to do it. Or they're watching videos and they think that they can do it, but you might not necessarily get the same look on that person as you got from the video because their hair texture might be different, you know. So I think that's where the educational piece comes in, learning those textures and things
in Delaware, like since I've been out here, everybody that I've asked, where did you get your hair braided? My cousin did it. My aunt did it. My mother did it. And again, that brings us back to that cultural thing. And that's why they say, well, you don't really need, and this is why one of my mentors is like, you don't need a license for that because how are they going to teach us something that we've been doing all of this time? You know, so it comes right back to that. So yeah. But it's again that sanitation piece, and when you're looking at all these videos and they're using globs of gel before they start the braid, and you know, how sanitary is that? How clean is
Well,
that going to be in your hair? I can see a little bit. I
mhm.
don't see the exaggerated, you know what I'm saying? Like, and
Yeah.
now it's coming out that, some people were using edge control for that. And the edge control, a lot of them have alcohol in it. So now a lot of the people's hair are brittle, breaking out, but again, that comes with education.
Yeah, and I think that people don't care at the time because they just want the look. Oh, my hair is laid. But we even did that debate on do you shampoo before the braids or not? And
Always.
yeah, we always debate about that one, but when you go to certain shops, that's not required that you they're not going to do that. I know I'm not going to do it. Y'all already know. Y'all better come washed and ready when y'all getting the
And I'm
long
going to do it.
and Tisha's gonna do it, and so that's when people start the question of where is the industry going? Since when did they stop shampooing your hair before you got it done? Well, not everybody always shampooed it. When you went to certain salons, you just sat in the chair and got it braided, and that was the end of it. So, it's just.
But again, and those salons are the ones that's not sanitary. Some of them. Sorry, Nikki. Okay, well, we want to say thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for watching, listening, catching the replay, telling your friends about it, sharing the video.
Purchasing the books online from Amazon, also purchasing it on Barnes & Noble. You can find so much information in these books that's downloadable.
So we just want to say thank you guys, and we will see you next Sunday. The Sunday after, I will not be here because I will be at the makeup show in New York City, taking a couple of my students.
Okay, great.
Yes. So thank you guys. We will see you next Sunday. Hope you have a good week. And that's it.
That's it.
Thank you for watching.